With WKUF News, I'm David Jackson for Wednesday, April 20th, 2016. Michigan's Attorney General Bill Schuette is expected to seek criminal charges against multiple people involved in the Flint water crisis. Amanda Emery on MLive.com reports that the Attorney General, in a press release yesterday, said that his office would make a significant announcement later today regarding the ongoing investigation. The people involved, according to sources close to the Attorney General, could face a mix of felony and misdemeanor charges, including possible involuntary manslaughter charges. According to the Detroit Free Press, the number of people to be charged has not been set, since sources say that some individuals may choose to cooperate with the investigation in exchange for charges to be dropped. Among those charged will be a City of Flint employee who allegedly signed off on documents claiming that the test sites used had lead service lines, which investigators have said was false. The charges are expected to be brought based on lead contamination in the Flint water system and not the outbreak of Legionnaire's disease that has been linked with the deaths of 12 people, although the Attorney General's team is still investigating that link. State of Michigan schools may be dumping Common Core. Brian McVicker, education reporter on MLive.com, reports that legislation to drop the Common Core curriculum, brought by longtime Common Core critic State Senator Patrick Kolbeck, was discussed during a Senate Education Committee meeting yesterday. Common Core, a national standard curriculum created and funded by several educational resource corporations, the Gates Foundation, and in conjunction with the Department of Education, was adopted by Michigan in 2010. The curriculum, criticized for methods of education and comprehension that run contrary to common knowledge, was adopted by almost all 50 states. However, due to pressure from teachers and parents, it is being removed by some states. Although adopted in 2010, standardized testing based on the curriculum was not rolled out until 2014. Student scores for the new testing, known as the M-Step, were immediately low, although educators claimed that was to be expected based on the new standards to be taught. The legislation being discussed would replace Common Core with a system using so-called aligned assessments that were most recently adopted by Massachusetts and Kentucky. Proponents of the Common Core, however, say that this assessment of Common Core is premature, adding that data from just 1 year is not sufficient. And John Austin, president of the State Board of Education, says that the proposed legislation is backward-looking and could leave some children behind in this fast-changing economy. State Senator Kolbeck, however, argues that the state should not put students at risk using unproven education techniques and says that instead of reinventing the proverbial wheel, they should be using the material that is already available to educate Michigan's kids. A federal class action lawsuit seeking $150 million for restitution and replacement of water lines in every home in Flint has been dismissed. Gary Ridley of the Flint Journal reports that U.S. District Court Judge John Corbett O'Mara issued an opinion yesterday dismissing the lawsuit, stating that the allegations fall under the Federal Safe Drinking Water Act. The Safe Drinking Water Act prevents challenges to the law to be ruled on in U.S. District Court and instead declares that any issues are to be addressed by the Environmental Protection Agency. The lawsuit, filed in January, alleged that the plaintiff residents paid their water bills but were delivered lead-poisoned water and would have included residents who paid their water bills during the water crisis. And finally, presidential primaries for two of the major U.S. political parties were held in New York yesterday. Results show that Donald Trump won the New York Republican Party election, Hillary Clinton won the state's Democratic Party election, while Libertarian candidate Gary Johnson holds a commanding lead over his opponents for the Libertarian Party nomination. The results from New York put the Democratic and Republican frontrunners further in the lead of their respective parties' nomination processes, but once again, the results come in the wake of alleged voter suppression and polling irregularities. NPR reported that in just one district in Brooklyn, more than 120,000 voters were removed from being able to vote, and polling locations remained closed hours after they were to be open for the day. These voting irregularities come after Arizona faced similar voting problems last month in the Democratic and Republican Party primaries that have prompted lawsuits alleging voter disenfranchisement. For more information about today's stories, visit WKUF.FM. I'm David Jackson.